Hey guys! Movie Nerd here to bring you another movie review for the movie Wonder Woman. Now, Wonder Woman is written by Alan Heinberg and Zack Snyder, and it's directed by Patty Jenkins. And it stars Gal Gadot, Chris Pine, Robin Wright, and Connie Nielsen. And guys, this is a breath of fresh air. I absolutely loved Wonder Woman. It was incredible. This is the DC superhero movie that we've been waiting to see for a very long time. I haven't felt so many different emotions since Man of Steel, and that says a lot. I mean, granted, the last few DC films with the Batman vs. Superman and Suicide Squad, I understand we're very divisive in terms of this fan base and of course with the critics. So the critics, they didn't really like it. The fans were, divided and stuff. But this one, critics love it, audience loves it, and it is for a great reason. And it's because Wonder Woman is absolutely fantastic. I loved it from start to finish, and guys, it was awesome. Straight up, everything about this movie brought hope, brought levity, and brought the faith back into the DC, fanboys or comic book, fans like me and you who enjoy watching these big, epic comic book movies. Going into Wonder Woman, I had a very average expectations because I didn't need to see any other trailers. All I saw was the Comic-Con trailer that was released a couple of months ago. And I loved it. It was great. It brought me into the mood. And I was very excited about this one in particular because it was set in World War One, where most of these films nowadays usually cover World War Two, but now they're covering World War One. So it brought a lot in terms with its structure, in terms of story, in terms with the action, in terms with all these different styles of the movie. And that's what I want to draw upon too next, is that the film brings so many different genres. It's almost a hybrid of all of these genres, and it's for a great reason. It's for all of these storylines to come all together as one by the end of the movie, and it's great. It's a war film, it's a comedy, it's an action hero, it's a romance film. It is all in one. And I know it sounds cliche because I laughed, I cried, I cheered, but I did. It was incredible what the film did for me. I laughed at the funniest parts between the bickering with Chris Pine, who plays Steve Trevor, and Gal Gadot, who plays Diana Prince. And those two really had great chemistry. I never felt so many emotions towards a supporting actor like Chris Pine, and he brings so much charm and charisma, and he was great as Steve Trevor. I think that was the perfect choice for Steve Trevor. Chris Pine, as you may know from Captain Kirk and Star Trek, and just recently in Hell and High Water, he was great as Steve Trevor. I thought that his performance was fantastic. Gal Gadot, a superb performance. It was phenomenal seeing how they use her accent as a way to draw that she is foreign from a different world, and that how the mythology of the Amazons play into the film, and it was introduced perfectly. I thought it was going to be introduced all campy and we don't want to separate between mythology and realistic tones to the story, and no, it was perfectly balanced. I'm not sure how Patty Jenkins did it, but it was great how she blended the mythology, the Greek mythology of the Amazons, mixed in with World War One, and then turning it into like this action superhero film, and it was blended perfectly. It was a breath of fresh air, and I loved it. Another thing I wanted to bring up is not only is this the first female-led superhero, and also directed by a female director, so I was very, very optimistic on how this film would bring hope back into the DC universe, because I understand that not many critics liked Man of Steel. It was very divisive too among fans, along with Batman vs. Superman and Suicide Squad. But coming from me, I loved Man of Steel. I had some issues with Batman vs. Superman, and Suicide Squad I liked, but of course there were the editing issues. There was a lot of the pacing issues, especially with Batman vs Superman. But in this one, I've read many articles and seen many interviews with Patty Jenkins, and she said that there's no extended cut, there's no deleted scenes of any sort, and I'm sure she's, just saying that, but it felt that way. The editing of the movie is flawless. It was run smoothly. Of course, the first 2 acts was a bit slow because it establishes exposition, it establishes a lot of the characters, it establishes a lot of the environment, and I understand all of that. But for the most part, it did it right. It didn't go too far. It didn't go, it didn't play along those lines. It was perfect. It was great. I had a few little nitpicks with the film towards the last act. I understand that no film is perfect, but the last act of the film kind of dragged a bit because the action sequences in the first 2 acts was great. I loved it, especially in the scene. I'm not going to give any spoilers because it was also in the trailer, but the part where Diana goes out of the trenches and walks on the battlefield, and she's blocking all of these bullets and using her shield to block her oh my gosh, that scene was incredible. I saw it in IMAX and the sound was just booming from the chair, and it was amazing. But by the third act, it gets a little on the cheesy side, it gets a little too much on the cheese. And I felt that the third act kind of ruined the other 2 big action sequences, so it really didn't blend well for me, and of course it was a little too heavy on the CG side. But nonetheless, the music was great, the cinematography was gorgeous to look at, and it was colorful. I know that many of the fans and critics always complain that the DC films are always dark and bleak and had a very serious tone, but this one brought humor, it brought happiness, it brought hope, it brought faith into the DC universe, but also brings a hopeful superhero, one who really cares not just for men and women but for everyone. It was so nice and lovely to see that Wonder Woman is the superhero that we need in a time like this, and it was so great to see this film. So guys, Wonder Woman was a fantastic film. I loved it from start to finish. There was so much that I was looking forward to, and it surpassed all of my expectations. It was a film that I would see more and more and more and not get tired. I know that it's a long film. It's a 2.5-hour movie, but I don't care. I could watch a 4-hour film for this one. It was so great. I loved it from start to finish, and I'm going to give Wonder Woman an A. So guys, what did you think of Wonder Woman? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Please don't forget to like and subscribe to my YouTube channel, and I hope to see you guys very, very soon. Okay guys, peace out.